Good everyone, my name is Samuel Adeyemi and I'll be speaking on Introduction to Script Writing, ITS 111. And what is a script? When we talk about a script writing is an intelligent artistic assignment that provides details of both a dialogue. By now, we've explained what dialogue means in the first class, in the first lecture. It's an intelligent artistic assignment that provides details of both dialogue and actions in such a way that its expressiveness possesses a sense of clarity with exactness, simultaneously projecting the entire intention of the writer in a way that differentiates his work, the writer's work, from other works with similar themes, ideas, and character. This definition is coined by Adeyemi in 2004. I take it again. Script writing is an intelligent artistic assignment that provides details of both dialogue and actions in such a way that its expressiveness possesses a sense of clarity with exactness, simultaneously projecting the entire intention of the writer in a way that differentiates his work from other works with similar themes, ideas, and character. So, the concepts of script writing, being good in its primary responsibility, function as a tool of distinction because of its ability to strike a contrast between two stories with similar ideology in the process of critical juxtaposition. What we're trying to say here, script writing is an intelligent artistic work. It's an assignment, and in writing a script, there must be dialogue involved, and of course, as long as there's dialogue involved, there must be actions involved. And what will differentiate one script from another is based on the theme. In fact, they might even have the same theme, they might have the same ideas, they might have closely related characters, but the way the script is written is that who differentiates that script writer from another script writer. And the tradition of good script writing ensures exceptional delivery on the part of the actors. The tradition of good script writing ensures exceptional delivery on the part of the actor, while the spectators is or are well communicated to. So there must be a proper delivery on the part of the actor so that the audience, which are the spectators, it will be properly communicated to. A script should reflect the entire idea of the writer. Like we said some points initially, that when someone writes something, a part of him or her or a part of his or her belief is actually embedded in that script. So a script should reflect the central idea of the writer, thematic expression, thereby differentiating two similar works during criticism. Scripts is known and said to be living, and it's usually in the present because it will outlive the actors. In other words, every script that you see is a living script, because even the script that was written it years to come, several years to come, 100 years to come, 10, 20 years to come, such actor or such scriptwriter could have been there. But that script is still living, because if a new producer should take that script and decides to change some things there and then reshoot, such script is said to be living, and that's why it is decided or it is assumed to outlive the actors. And we'll go to the elements of good scripts. One element of good script is must ensure adequate projection of the writer's thematic concern and commitment in a sense of particularity. Every good script must project the writer's theme. And we said it earlier that theme is the central idea of a play or a film. And the second element of a good script is artistically empowers. That means this good script must artistically, A-R-T, it must empower and widen the intellectual horizon of the writer. There are several dumb scripts, permitted to use that word, if, when scrutinized, we discover that it's definitely dumb, because it doesn't bring out any intellectual reasoning or any intellectual discussion, or it doesn't give room to widen the horizon of both the writer and even the audience that are about to watch the film or that will definitely watch the film. So a good script should artistically empower and widen the horizon of the writer. In other words, it means a good script again should be research-based. That's the third element of a good script. It must be research-based. So there's a particular script writer might definitely not know the stories that they're about to write fully. They might just have a glimpse, an idea, an inspiration. But if they go further to make a research on it, they are going to get more details, and these details is what brings out the best in script writing. Another element of good script is you must avoid boring words. You must avoid boring words. A good script writer should make sure that he or she avoids words that are boring. You don't just jump back a lot of boring words just because you want the dialogues to be so long or so bogus. Moreover, in filmmaking, it's not all dialogue is very good for the dialogue to be so sharp, quick, and fast. While this actor is talking, the next actor quickly comes in and all that, except on exceptional cases that the need is very, very necessary. Another element of good script is it should give proper documentation. Give proper documentation to which concrete reference can be made. That means while you are making research, there should be proper documentation so that references will be definitely made later on in due time. You can have a research topic and make perhaps a good film. The script writer has done a great research on it, and you watch the film just at your leisure time. And then something 2 years later, something else came up and it's related to that film. Because that thing has been properly documented in the film, you can always go back there. And this is what brings the beauty of a good script. Another one, which is the element of a good script, is it must reduce the monopoly of production. Monopoly of production. And this can be achieved by thinking out of the box, and of course throwing out the box or throwing the box away. Reducing monopoly of production. Every scriptwriter should not just be so stereotyped to one direction. That means you should not just keep writing on a particular theme, You can diversify, and this will make your script look more beautiful. Another subtopic that we'll be discussing is the problems of scripting. Problems of script writing. One of the problems of script writing is illiteracy. Illiteracy. In this context, when I speak about illiteracy, I'll portray it. Here, you can be an educated illiterate because you refuse to acquire knowledge, and therefore your script can't stand the test of time. This is a problem of script writing literacy. A lot of script writers don't want to acquire knowledge, and therefore the script can't stand the test of time. They can't even go back to the script and use it as a means of explanation for educational purposes or for evangelical purposes and what have you. And that illiteracy, when we talk about illiteracy, it means as a man or as a woman who is a script writer, you make sure that you look for information, and that is what makes you literate. Information. So in this context, we're not talking of whether you have the qualification of a doctoral degree or a master's degree, or you've completed your first degree. As a good scriptwriter, you must be able to make research, and you start from somewhere, then you grow in it. Another thing that we'll be speaking about is economic survival and social responsibility. This is another problem of scripting. This is another problem of script writing: economic survival and social responsibility. What does this mean? A lot of people, because of the economic situation of the country, or of their surroundings and all that, they decide not to write a good script. Because of survival, they quickly just jot something down that is not as good as it ought to be, and then they just drop it. That's the problem that faces good script writing. And then social responsibility. My child wants to feed, I need to pay my school fees, I need to pay my daughter's school fees, or I need to have responsibilities. So because of all these responsibilities, it becomes a social responsibility that affects or that prevents the good productivity of the writer, and hence the problem of script writing is being coming and surfacing. Now, the factors that are responsible for the act of improvisation. We have a factor that is responsible for acts of improvisation. I want to talk about improvisation, of course. This is another subtopic: factor responsible for act of improvisation. Here we are talking about ad-libbing. The word improvisation can also be I was said to be ad-libbing. A-D-L-I-B-B-I-N-G. That means ad-libbing. That means without advanced preparation. When you improvise, you are bringing out a new creative idea without an advanced preparation. What could be responsible for this? For you not to be able to prepare properly. Meanwhile, you are bringing out a creative idea. The first factor is urgency. When you are under a present need to deliver a particular story or deliver a particular content or a particular writing, as a result of urgency, you improvise. And at times, it's beauty in improvisation because it brings out ecstasy, it brings out fun, it brings out your creativity. Another thing is merging of various ideas towards wholesome production. This is a factor that is responsible for the act of improvisation. When the factor that's responsible for improvisation, when you merge ideas together, as long as you're improvising, it will definitely bring out what people coming together to merge ideas together, and then hence a wholesome production would be achieved. Another factor that is responsible for acts of improvisation is to preserve the African culture against westernization. To preserve African culture against westernization. I am an African from the southwest. One of the reasons why improvisation is good is instead of always using the western word, kudos to our western brothers over there. One of the reasons why we need to improvise in some cases, or in many cases as the case may be, is to preserve the culture of the writer, to preserve the culture of wherever locality that you have. Another factor that is responsible for act of improvisation is to bring out the actor's creativity. So this improvisation is not just based on the writer's point of view alone, even the actors as well. The little you are asked to improvise, you are asked to perform an ad-lib because of the urgent situation. This can as well bring out creativity. For someone like me, if I'm given a script of a madman to display, and there are some lines that are particularly there, as good as that might seem, I would prefer if the director could give more room and opportunity for me to improvise as well. That means to add some of my own creative ideas as well. And these are the factors that are responsible for acts of improvisation. We'll be speaking next on dramatic structure. Dramatic structure, what do we mean by dramatic structure? Dramatic structure, it involves the overall framework or method by which the playwright uses to organize the dramatic material and or action. Dramatic structure involves the overall framework or method by which the playwright, which is the writer, that used to organize the dramatic material and or action. It is important for playwrights to establish themes, which we have been emphasizing earlier on. It is important for playwrights to establish themes, but the challenge comes in applying structure to the ideas and inspiration. As long as the theme has been achieved, the theme of the story they want to write is being known and detected, then structures need to be added, and those structures are what the ideas and the inspirations that begin to come together. Understanding basic principles of dramatic structure can be invaluable to the playwright. It's very, very important. So much has great content and potency to the life of the playwright. Understand the principle of dramatic structure. Most modern plays are structured into acts that can be further divided into scenes. The pattern most often used is a method by which the playwright sets up early on in the beginning scenes all of the necessary conditions and situations out of which the later conditions will develop. So in that particular act, as the scriptwriter is writing, what he does first in that particular scene that the scriptwriter is writing, he sets everything necessary, all the conditions and the situations that ought to be developed, he sets it at the beginning of the script. Generally, the wants and desires of one character will conflict with another character. These are things that brings up the dramatic structure as the scriptwriter is writing. With this method, the playwright establishes a pattern of complication. Complication, as long as the story starts, then it begins to develop. Then the scriptwriter establishes complication, a rising action, it gets to the climax, which is the peak, and then a resolution, and it comes down. This is commonly known as cause-to-effect arrangement of incidents. Cause to effect arrangement of incident. That means it begins from the complication to the rising action, the climax, and then the resolution. We'll be right back. Alright, we'll be speaking on the basic characteristics of the cause to effect arrangement. The basic characteristics of the cause to effect arrangement, they include the following: clear exposition of situation. We're talking of what? The cause to effect arrangement. That means there must be a clear exposition of situation. These are the characters that brings up the cause to effect arrangement. There must be a clear exposition of situation. There must be careful preparation for future events. Careful preparation for future events in the story. There must be unexpected but logical reversals. When you are writing a kind of story like this in this context, what it means is there could be several kind of scenes that will be happening, but it's going to be interwoven in intertwine and interlock so that you can bring the beginning to the end and can bring the end to the beginning, and it's going to bring out the beauty of the writing. And that characteristics of the cause to effect arrangement is also a continuous mounting suspense. Continuous mounting suspense. Suspense must always be continuous, and this is what will glue the audience to their seats. And that one is an obligatory scene. Obligatory scene is a composite scene that must be involved in that particular film or story that you are writing. Now, even without it, you definitely will know as a writer that no, you have not really done justice to your work. And the last one here is a logical resolution. As long as a film is coming to the end, coming to the resolution, the end part, it must end logically. It's not that after you have a writer's block and you don't know, writer's block is when you are short of inspiration. That's just the simplest way that can be explained. After maybe you don't know how you are going to end that particular film or play, and then you just say, okay, an angel just appeared and settled the problem. Maybe if you are trying to talk about an evangelical gospel film, sort of, or you just try to say somebody from nowhere just come and just if you try to just bring something that's illogical, the film will not really be good as a scriptwriter. So the cause to effect arrangement should be that the ending part, the resolution part, must be a logical resolution. Explaining point of attack as a subtopic. Point of attack is the moment of the play at which the main action of the plot begins. As long as that storyline begins, that's the point by which then you bring up a point of attack by which main actions begin to get heated up. This may occur in the first scene, or it may also occur after several scenes of exposition. The point of attack is the main action by which all others will arise. It is the main action by which all others will arise. It is the points at which the main complication is introduced. Point of attack can sometimes work hand in hand with a place inciting incident, which is the first incident leading to the rising action of the play. That inciting incident is the first incident that leads to the rising action, where all other actions and other suspense will begin to unfold. Sometimes the inciting incident is an event that occurred somewhere in the character's past and is revealed to the audience through exposition. That inciting incident can be, for example, imagine you have to imagine what I'm saying now: a male and a female in a relationship, and then the male is trying to explain his past to the female, or the female is trying to explain her past to the male. The audience will have a preview, or will be pre-informed, even though those scenes are not shown, but it's trying to inform the story writer or the script writer is trying to inform the audience via the dialogue of one character or the other. And this is what we're talking about: inciting events and events that occur somewhere in the character's past and is revealed to the audience through exposition. Now, talking about exposition itself, exposition is important information that the audience needs to know in order to follow the main storyline of the play. Also, it is the aspect of the story that the audience may hear about, but that they will not witness in actual sense. This is self-explanatory. The aspect of the story that the audience will hear about, but they may not witness it, may not definitely see it. It encompasses the past action of the characters before the play's opening scenes progress. So immediately the scene starts by the first line of the actor. It's already revealing to the audience that the man is either married or his wife died. Rising action. Rising action is a section of the plot, which is the storyline, beginning with the point of attack and or inciting incident, and proceeding forward to the crisis onto the climax. Rising action is a section of the plot beginning with the point of attack and proceeding forward to the crisis onto the climax. The action of the play here will rise as it is set up a situation of increasing intensity and anticipation. The audience begin to wonder what is going to happen next, and this kind of scene will make up the body of the play and usually creates a sense of continuous mounting suspense in the audience. Another subtopic here is also the climax or the crisis. All of the earlier scenes and actions in the play will build technically to the highest level of dramatic intensity. This section, we're talking about climax, this section of the play is generally referred to as the moment of the play's climax. This section of the play is generally referred to as the moment of the play's climax. This is the moment where the major dramatic questions rise to the highest level. We're talking about the climax, the peak, and the zenith. This should be the point of the highest stage of dramatic intensity in the action of the play. The all combined actions of the play generally lead up to this moment. All what has been happening from beginning towards the climb, the rising of action, the starting, then we end at that climax where the crisis is really striking. The main actions and the main conflict is happening. This is what we call the climax or the crisis. Resolution, obligatory sin. As a resolution or the obligatory sin were combined together, the resolution is the moment of the play in which the conflicts are resolved. The resolution is the moment of the play in which the conflicts are resolved. One of the reasons why we call it this obligatory sin is because at the end part there must be an ending, and that's an obligatory sin. Most definitely, a film must always have a beginning, middle, and of course an end. It is the solution to the conflict in the play, the answer to the mystery that we have been unraveling, and the clearing up of the final details. That's where resolution comes in play. This resolution is the scene that answers the question raised earlier in the play, and that scene is the obligatory scene. In this scene, the methods and motifs are revealed to the audience. The method and the motives are revealed to the audience, and this is the strength of the writer that also brings out what it needs to reveal, which is the resolution and the obligatory scene. Now we're going to the features of a good script. The features of a good script of course must have an act, it must have a scene, it must have a character. The character, talking about character, is the creative work of a playwright, which such as human beings in the hand of a writer. Of course, we said the characters also outlive actors. An actor is a real human acting in that particular character. So the character, if an actor can take a script and play a particular character, play the role of a particular character, and years to come, another actor can take it again. That's why I say characters as well also outlive the actors. A good script must also have a good narrative. A narrative means a message that tells the particulars of an act or occurrence or course of events presented in writing or drama or cinema. Take that again. A narrative also is part of features of a good script, and that narrative means a message that tells the particulars of an act. It explains what is happening in that particular thing or course of events. This is presented in writing or drama or cinema or as a radio or television program. Now, on scripts, it can be italicized. When we're writing it in script, that's the narrative, it can be italicized, which is a bit sliced or slant, or it can be in brackets, or it can be subtitled as well in movies when during the editing process to let us know what's actually happening. It can be a siren that is a blowing siren, or it can be the car tire that is screeching, or what have you. For example, if you have "shut up," she slaps him, which will be in parenthesis. That's part of the narrative. Dialogue as well, it must be short and snappy. I've said that earlier in films, except in rare cases for creative reasons. Now, talking about the Shakespeare scripting. Talking about the Shakespeare scripting, it must have an introduction, it must have an exposition, it must have a climax, it must have a denouement. That is Genouement, which is the final resolution and outcome of the main complication of a literary or dramatic work. So it must have all these things as Shakespeare has stated. Alright, the following also must be considered. That's while writing or about to write a script, we must consider the following: research and knowledge of the themes and the subject matter exposed, or what I want to be explored, or what I want to be explained. There must be a research, and you must understand the genre, that's GNRE, that's the kind of drama or the form of drama or the style of writing that you want to produce or bring out for the audience to be able to see. You must be knowledgeable about it. You must have a good sound knowledge of what you want to do as well. Of course, inspiration is also one key thing that is necessary, also that helps writing that helps script writer, or those who want to write a script. We're talking about things that you can consider when to write a script and all that. Inspiration, of course, you can get inspiration as well from painting. You can get inspiration from photos that encapsulate the world of play. If you see a picture or a photo, of course, you can become inspired from there. And those kind of things also can bring any of inspiration they are looking for. All the other relevant ideas of inspiration also can also come in play here as well. You must have a concept also. Questions you should be able to answer. These are questions that you should be able to answer. Now, what does the play represent? What is the theme? Why is it important? Why does it deserve to be witnessed? What is the moral of the story? What universal truths does it illustrate? These are the things you consider when you are writing or about to write. What excites you, even as a playwright, about the work? What aspect of the drama fires your imagination? There's a particular line or a particular scene or a particular story or a particular concept idea that you need to break down in terms of scenes and dialogue that will really thrill you even as a writer. What makes you feel zealous and impassioned about what you want to do? What moves you? What is the drive behind what you want to write about? What in the play makes it worthy of an audience attention? Why is it compelling? These are the things that you need to ask yourself when you have to write a script, or that juggles the memory and the ideas and thinking faculty of a good script writer. When we're talking about the playwright, a playwright, of course, is one who writes play. He makes play come to reality. How plays are written at any given time depends on many factors. Now, one, the intended audience and the purpose, that's one of the factors. The playwright's current views about the human condition and how the playwright perceives the truth around him. A playwright must understand and know the established artistic and theatrical conventions of the theatre. So you must have a good knowledge of the theatre, how the dramatic components, how the structures and everything about drama is involved. A playwright must appreciate the working procedures, the materials and technical aspect of a production as well. Because the script is the starting point of the theatrical production, the process through which it comes into being is of primary importance. So the script must be respected. There are many ways to write a play. Sometimes a playwright starts with an idea. Another playwright may begin with a single character in mind. Some playwrights base their work on spectacle, what can be seen. Plays can be tightly structured or episodic. Of course, episode by episode, when you begin to watch a particular story or a particular plot, is giving you episodes by episode, and some can be just structured. It can be just a feature-length film, and that is for just one way, so to say. Regardless of the original inspiration, the work of the playwright is not just to set forth an idea, to create characters or tell a story. A playwright recreates and restates the human experiences and the universal mirror of mankind. The script is the art of the theatrical events. It must be respected. Now, the steps of the playwright's work. Playwriting and creating drama for each playwright is distinctively different. Plays can develop out of any combination of starting points and patterns. The processes by which drama is created for each playwright can be varied in the steps used to create the text. There's a simple list in a progressive order, but order can change depending on each playwright's character, style, and preferences for writing. So you can have various ideas. You must just be creative. You cannot just be stereotyped, or maybe there's a particular law in theatre and then you just follow it strictly. It won't bring out creativity, it won't bring out beauty. Writers are sometimes therefore people with visionary or prophetic insights into human life. There are a lot of films and stories and drama that has been acted that some of us have watched or will still be seen in due time or in the nearest future, that they become prophetic. So writers are actually seen to be prophetic. From the gospel and evangelical point of view, I would believe that a good writer should always connect to God as well, so that his writing will be what's about to happen, what will happen, or what has happened. Now, we're talking about the basic steps involved in the development of drama. The basic steps that's involved in the development of drama, of course, it includes coming up with thoughts, coming up with theme, coming up with ideas to be exposed through the work. You must determine the genre and style of the work. You must outline basic action of the work and creative plot. You must establish the structure of the play and the overall framework. The development of characters presented in the work as well. The creation of dialogue and the language of the characters must also be involved and put at the back of your mind, perhaps at the front. Creating music as well. This can involve the rhythm of the language or actual music composition and the lyrics of the song. Establishing spectacle also, that's the visual and the environmental elements of the work, and the research of subject matter and relevant issues presented in the play. All these are almost repetition of what I've been explaining, so that for further emphasis, you are going to get a better understanding of these lectures. As a playwright as well, one thing to consider, of course, is also know if you want to write a tragedy or you're writing a comedy, or you can also mix it. You can combine both the comedy and tragedy in one piece of dramatic work as well. Now, more emphasis on scripting is still here as well. We must connect to the world of imagination. You must have a clear passion and be inquisitive and sociable for the purpose of learning. You have to ask questions, you have to be social. You may consider having an outline, summary, a synopsis, or a review per scene, or you draft it even before you write the dialogue. Like I said, nobody is an island, or nobody has the major authority in the world of art. But these are just guidelines. You must work with generational trend as well by continuous learning and research with a mindset of educating intellectual and naive people. So while you are writing, you must consider those who are naive and those who are also intellectual. So your script should always make sure you bring out new information, and then people will know you as a very good scriptwriter or a film producer. Let your script have beginning, middle, and end. Watch movies and read people's professional script, of course. You can buy books as well. You read books on African stories. I'm an African man, so I need to proclaim what my background is all about. You must learn to evoke emotion. You must avoid plagiarism. So a lot of writers, so to say, or some writers, they love copying people's work and turn it to their own. No, it ought not to be so. You must be open to criticism. Criticism, like I always tell people also, is the food of stars. The food of stars. I had that for one of my coach and teacher. Now you must kill your darlings when you are writing your scripts. That means, what I mean by killing your darlings is what? There are unnecessary lines that you love. You must make sure that you don't put it as long as it's not necessary, or it's too long, or it's going to be boring. You must pick difficult topics. You can pick topics on medicals, you can pick topics on law, you can pick topics on forensics, you can pick topics on politics, you can pick topics on trafficking, and what have you, and address it, as this will help you research and be a voice. But do not overhand your research. When you are writing a script and you have made a lot of research, don't burden or overborder the audience who are watching the film with a lot of maybe medical jargons or law terminologies and all that, just to confuse the audience. Try to bring it in a way that will be dramatic and still send the information you achieve a good thing. And don't lecture also when you are writing. Write in a way your readers will get your attention and they see the word in your words. Write for the deaf. That means the deaf, of course, they don't hear what they see. So your writing technique should be written in a way as if you are writing for the deaf. That means you should not just write dialogue. There should be actions. When an audience or a deaf person, you see an action, when someone is afraid, the leg will shrink a bit, or it can contract a bit just this way. So that shows a particular fear or this kind of gestures must always be involved in your writing. So you write for the deaf and not the blind. This is majorly for the effects of believability. When we speak of script writing for effective production, in gospel filmmaking, scripting is preceded by receiving divinely inspired messages. The message you receive remains a mere idea, not until it has been put down on paper. Poor scripting has destroyed a lot of powerful God-given messages. The most creative director in the world, given the most sophisticated production gadget devised by human mind, cannot create a superb film without a superb script. Again, a script, also called a screenplay, is the basic building block of any dramatic project, whether in theater, radio, videotape, or film. Is there any key that unlocks the door of excellent scripting? Of course. In actual fact, it's not a key, so to say, but a combination of principles. And this principle is coined as the Q combination, as coined as well by Evangelist Shola Malkabola. The C is the continuity, the U is the unpredictability, the B is the believability, and the E is the economy. The continuity, of course, implies going on without a break. A good film script will have a beginning, the middle, and the end. Even if it's a serial with 1,000 parts, it must at least start somewhere and end somewhere. Of course, it must flow smoothly from start to finish. You should prepare a plot development sheet. You should build around the main plot. If you explain what plot is the storyline, and we have various two major kind of plot. We have the episodic plot and the disjointed plot. Most of the TV soap operas you watch, these are episodic, various episode by episode. But some of these feature films structured plots, which are the organic plots. Then also under the continuity, you must introduce appropriate subplots, and you should avoid disjointed episode as long as you are writing for an organic episode, which is like future feature film. Now, unpredictability, the U in the Q, is not knowing the end until we get to the end. Writing a good script. A good scripting, gospel or secular as it were, so to say, or a stage script must have the element of unpredictability. This will make the production compelling to watch. It will make it so compelling that once people start watching it, they won't want to leave their seats before it ends. They will be so glued to their seats. In other words, we introduce surprise and you introduce suspense. On top of believability, it has to do with how real the movie is. The essence of any good film is to get the audiences so much involved that they unconsciously leave the surrealistic realm and enter into the realistic realm. The surrealistic realm in terms means a realm of being as if it's not really real, in terms of a dream or in terms of a vision. Then they enter into the realistic realm and thinking it's actually happening in real life. You make sure there's a person with conflict or a problem in the script. You make sure there's a realistic conflict and establish it as early as possible enough. And then you avoid artificially induced conclusions. The ending part, the resolution must be believable. The economy, the E in the Q combination, that means you must have good management of time, cast, and scenes. Except you must include a good number of characters and scenes. It is better, for the sake of economical purpose, financial wise, and what have you, to have a limited cast, a limited crew, and so on. There's a killer tendency for some scriptwriters to want to say and show everything in their script. That's why I said earlier that you kill your darlings. They put very long lines in the mouth of their character. No, ought not to be. They have too many scenes than is actually necessary. They waste time unnecessary on irrelevant details. This is a killer tendency because it kills the pace, the tempo, and life in what you want to achieve. So therefore, you must cut away unnecessary or cluttering words of dialogue. Do not include unnecessary characters in the script. Scenes that do not add a new development to the plot or reveal something new should also be deleted. When we speak about the areas of research in your scripting, for you to have a good, proper script and good production, you must make a research in the visible and the invisible parts. The visible part is the settings that you want to use. Make research on it. Make research on the costumes that will be needed, on the props, on the makeup. Then the invisible part is make research of a particular character. How does, if you have not gotten to the age of 80, how does an 80-year-old man behaves? Do they become senile after a lot of books they've read, in case if they are professors or whatever? What are things that you want to achieve? The visible character, you check about their character profile, their age, their status, their temperament, their mannerism, and etc. Further emphasis as well. Carefully study good scripts written by professionals. Never lose the ambition of impressing with your script. The script must be actable as well. The language must be simple, speakable, and comprehensible. You avoid loss in using speech, dresses, and postures in your script. Only request because of the current situation and the trend that is happening. This necessarily does not mean, or this necessarily is not a yardstick for you to show loss-inducing scenes or loss-inducing speech. There are various kind of ways by which you can write around it without bringing out explicit content to your audience, and you could still have a better script. Never include things that could unnecessarily lead to laughter, and things like treat vices like the romance, the smoking, the drinking with wisdom. The actors don't necessarily need to drink, neither do they necessarily need to smoke as well. But if the need is there for a particular reason, that should be based on your conviction. But that drinking aspect and the smoking aspect and some other things, there should be a way that we can play around it. Lay your hands on scripting for a start. A good script, short messages, lay hand for it for a start. Allow others to subject your script to professional assessments, scriptural assessments for those in the evangelical, and then contextual assessment as well. For example, when you write a script about a medical scene and all that, you need to get either you go to online, you make proper research, and if you have a medical personnel as a friend, also you can send the script to him or ask questions to be able to write properly and not mislead the audience. As a scriptwriter, you must have a good knowledge about what is called the flashback, in other words, analepsis, and also prolepsis, which is a flash forward. So you must be able to know how to write both in a surrealistic state, in terms of an imagination, in terms of vision, in terms of dream. The flashback is called the analepsis, analepsis, while the flash forward is called the prolepsis, which is the prolepsis. 3 terms which are often used in the context of discussion of chronology and order are the 3 basic types of beginning, which is the ab ovo, in medias res, and in ultimas res. Now, these terms refer to the point of time of a story at which a play sets in, and they are thus closely related to the amount of information viewers are offered at the beginning of a play. I take that again. These terms refer to the point of time, the story at which a play sets in, and they are thus closely related to the amount of information viewers are offered at the beginning of a play. The ab ovo, the play starts at the beginning of the story and provides all the necessary background information concerning the characters, their circumstances, the conflicts. This is exposition. That's what is bringing out here. The in medias res, that the story starts somewhere in the middle. The story starts somewhere in the middle and leaves the viewers puzzled at first. Then the in ultimas res, that the story begins with its actual outcome or ending, and then relates events in the reverse order. That's why the story can start from beginning, middle, or end, or middle, beginning, and the end, or end, middle, beginning. Just depends on how creative a good writer is. So the in ultimas res again is the story begins with its actual outcome or ending, and then relates events in reverse order. Just drawing the audience attention on the how this came about, rather than the words of the story. Plays which use this method are called analytic plays, that uses the reverse method.